Welcome to Oath Keepers Now. I'm Mike Chisholm. I'll be your host today. Oath Keepers is a nonpartisan organization. I think I've said that 400 times, maybe longer. But we consist of active duty, retired, military, law enforcement. Gosh, let's see. Anybody that swore the oath to the U.S. Constitution. Lately, I guess I've been in the paper. Oath Keepers been in the Idaho State Journal quite often. Many of you out there have a misconception about what Oath Keepers is all about. We're just a organization consisting of men and women, just like I did in my opening, who care about the Constitution, who follow those that are elected and how they vote, who are wanting to bring the community together, as we're starting new programs such as safe soldier rides, which I'm trying to implement here in Pocatello. And what that consists of is for those returning veterans on leave, be it a 2-week leave, a 30-day leave. I remember my leaves. I couldn't wait to come back on leave. And basically what it's about is if you're out and having a good time, and we all had a good time, and anybody out there that said they haven't, well, we know you're lying, unless you're an angel. And none of us are angels. But give us a call, and we're going to get that rolling, and we'll pick you up and take you home safely. I actually had a guest planned here earlier, so I'm kind of shooting this from the hip. Okay, yeah, the word shooting might sound bad, but anyways, I'm pretty much doing this from the hip. Nothing I'd planned, as the guest was tied up and wasn't able to make it. So I thought I'd talk to you guys about what Oath Keepers are about, some of our concerns and my personal concerns. We all know that our economy, our country, and many other things are headed downhill. We look to our elected officials all the time, actually more often than ever, if we're wise enough and we're smart enough to know that they are who make the laws. They are those who, well, let's just say, keep the country running or turn the country into where we're at today. I'd like to read, and of course I will read. It's like I said in my show anyways. Well, it's your show actually, and I apologize for that. I appreciate those that watch this, and I'd like to read a quote. I have to put my glasses on. Anyways, this is from Thomas Jefferson, and he said, "To take a single step beyond the boundaries thus specifically drawn around the powers of Congress is to take possession of a boundless field of power, no longer susceptible of any definition." Wow, that's a pretty heavy line in my opinion. And that's happening today. Think about it. It's like pieces to the puzzle being put together that's slowly encompassing and encircling our U.S. Constitution. Executive orders, National Defense Authorization Act. I can go on and on and on, because those that are in the know understand what's happening. I sit and wonder, and I wonder about my grandchildren. Where's my grandkids? You got a photo? You got a picture of that, Kathy? My grandkids? Yeah, those are my grandkids. And I have another one, by the way. Just came 2 months old, premature. Well, those children, I look at them right now, and I can see them on the monitor, but you guys can't see me. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to spread the word to everyone out there. Everyone. I don't care what what you are, Democrat, Republican, liberal. I don't care. We need to get our country back under control. And gosh, we need to do it like yesterday. I've been reading the Idaho State Journal. I have to give Ian Fennell a lot of credit. Sorry, Ian, if I mentioned your name. But they put out an article about Oath Keepers saying, the reporter did, certain things that were highly lies. That's the bottom line. It was lies. I'm not going to be politically correct on this show. I'm going to be correct, what I believe. And it was lies. But the editor, Ian Fennell, was kind enough to do a follow-up story about Oath Keepers, and pretty much gave a somewhat understanding of what we are. And like I say, we're just men and women that served in the military, served in the government, any of you who've ever sworn the oath to the Constitution, if you've ever thought you've done anything in your life, you best do it now. Because I've been to third world countries, and many of you have too out there. And if you don't get your, many people thinking that, oh, this is all going to blow over. Everything's going to go fine. Well, explain this to me. Why is it that every time, well, I'm raising my voice. I don't think that's good, sorry. Why is it that every time when we can get ahead or something can be good for our America, our people, our state, just the country, that they continue to circumvent that, like the pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline. Instead of it coming down through Canada and bringing us cheaper oil, what did we do? Not we. What did the administration do? Our elected officials? They decided to go, hey, let's bring it up through Mexico. So there's so many side deals and this and that. And, it drives me batty, to say the least. Our mission is to reach, teach, and inspire. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to reach out there to camera land, into TV world. 3 years ago, I was a hermit. This would be the last thing anybody ever thought I'd do, especially me. But our mission is to reach, teach, and inspire. How simple is that? I'm trying to reach out there. So is every other oath keeper. We're trying to reach. We're trying to teach those oath keepers and oath takers. See, I can't pronounce so many good words because all those years of living in Hawaii, which gave me a different perspective on life, I guess. I lived in paradise, and I thank God for that. Oh, the big word God. Not everyone. I'm sure some people out there saying they don't believe in God. Well, that's your choice. And that's what makes America good. We have choices. I mean, I'm not trying to be repetitive here. I've been to other countries, and they had no choice. And what's happening today, it's a maze of laws being incorporated and putting into place to squeeze our rights away. A few years ago, some people like Alex Jones or Glenn Beck, everybody's heard of them, were considered nuts. Were considered conspiracy theorists. Well, many of those things that they had believed in back then are actual facts today. And ask yourself, wow, I guess Mike Chisholm might be a conspiracy theorist too, and Oath Keepers also. Oath Keepers might be a militia. Let me tell you once and for all of those out, I am not part of the militia, nor are any Oath Keepers. And if they are, they get booted out really quick. There's specific guidelines. If you guys want to find out, go to oathkeepers.org. Oh, my pad died. Uh-oh. Well, I'll keep on rolling because I need to take a look at some notes that I wrote for myself. Question is, that's the other thing, with Safe Soldier Rides, what Oath Keepers is trying to do is to build a better community. In the sense, not to say our community's bad. I love this. I love Pocatello. I love Idaho. I love Southeast Idaho. But what we're trying to do is to interact with all the other veterans groups, with all community functions, be it at Idaho State University, the Holt Arena, anywhere. We're just trying to get the word out that our supreme law, short of God, is the U.S. Constitution. Not the Supreme Court, not the Supremacy Clause, and you know who I'm talking about out there, because there's a couple of people that, actually on March 28th last month, we had a oath swearing-in ceremony, and several of the local community people showed up here. Well, lo and behold, the next day in the Idaho State Journal, there was a few disgruntled individuals saying that the oath was wrong. Well, when we go in the service, there's an oath that the officers take. Then there's an oath that the enlisted take. Just as the civilian worker who works for the federal government take an oath also, they all take the oath to uphold the Constitution. And that's pretty simple, cut and dry. Such as all of these people. That brings me up to this then. I'm just babbling here now, but that's cool. That's all right. I don't know if you ever heard of the Federalists and the Anti-Federalist Papers. Okay? Everybody thinks that our founding fathers were friends, and they were. They were statesmen. There were men and women. Let's not forget the women. There were men and women who had much common ground, but they also had disagreements. No one's happy, nothing is perfect. They had many disagreements. Actually, they had many arguments. But they had inside of them one thing that I hope I have, and I hope many of you have, is called internal fortitude. They didn't give up. They continued to drive on. No matter how bad the weather got, speaking how bad, you know what happened. And if you don't, you should learn your history about the Revolutionary War. But these people came up with this, the Constitution. This is called The Constitution Made Easy. One of the best books a buddy of mine gave, John Mackey. Yes, John, put your name on here. Sorry, he's up in Coeur d'Alene. Anyways, and he's an oath keeper. But he gave me this book a while back. And if any of you would like to, I don't know who the author is. Hang on, sorry. Blah, blah, let's see. Michael Holler, Holler. He's got the same name as me, so see, it's even better. But this is one of the most easiest books for those of you that have not read the Constitution. I'd like to ask, the audience, how many of you have really read the Constitution? Sat down and said, I'm going to take the 30 minutes to read the Constitution. Yeah, it's not a healthcare bill that's 2,700 pages long that has all kind of little catches to it and different things. Oh yeah, by the way, your doctor can do anything to you now, and we can go on, but we're not going to talk about that. Maybe we'll do it for another show when I planned it, because this is totally unplanned. So I don't know how this is going to come out, but it's still going to come out. And I got 15 minutes to keep on talking, I think. Anyways, on a serious note, if you really want to learn the Constitution, I suggest this book to you, for those of you who don't understand it. And those of you that's never read the Constitution, please don't talk to me about what you know about the Constitution, because that just, well, I'll be nice. Let's see what the other note I have here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, which I put the note down earlier. Anyways, those of you who disagree with me, and hey, disagreement is cool, There we go, Federalist Papers, Anti-Federalist Papers, all right? Anyone out there in TV land, here in Pocatello and American Falls, anywhere this program reaches out to, and it reaches out to a lot of people, I welcome you on the show. I welcome your opposing, opposing is a bad word. I welcome your different perspective viewpoint, if there's such a thing as a perspective viewpoint. Anyways, please, I talked to a retired Navy captain. I'm not going to mention his name. He knows who he is. I would be glad to speak with him and tell him more about who Oath Keepers are. We're not a militia. We're not bad people. Most of us are actually, I know of a couple of retired naval captains such as yours. So there's a myriad of individuals amongst us in our group. We made 3 years. Our 3-year anniversary was on April 19th, which everyone knows is Patriots Day. Well, not everyone, but it is called Patriots Day. Governor Otter declared it Patriots Day, I believe, 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. I can't remember. Anyways, wow. It's interesting when you're just talking to yourself. Well, I know I'm talking to you guys out there. But on April 19th at Lexington, the shot that was heard around the world. And we don't want that to happen. If anything, and I know many Oath Keepers, we don't want, I have to learn to speak better English. The bottom line is we're not into violence. We're into educating those that took the oath or who will take the oath, and to stand by those oaths. We hear of TSA at the airport. First of all, I think that they're an unconstitutional organization, as many other federal organizations are. The EPA, I can go on and on. They're having roadblocks / checkpoints in Tennessee. I've been to countries where I had to go through checkpoints and Russian checkpoints and many other type of checkpoints. And it's no fun. We have no freedom here. You guys need to wake up. If you sit back and allow this to happen, I'm telling you, if they bring a TSA roadblock or whatever they call it, a checkpoint in Idaho, where will the Idaho lawmakers be? Will you stand up for it and say no? I know some that will. Here's a list from Idaho Freedom Foundation. You guys can't see it. It doesn't matter. It's really too small. But it rates those in the Senate and those in the House by how they vote constitutionally. And you would be very surprised. I'm not going to mention names, but I will. Monty Pierce, #1 for constitutional principles. I talk to Monty from time to time, Senator Monty Pierce, very good man. I'm not promoting anybody here, don't get me wrong. But stats don't lie. And Wayne Hoffman, who is the statistician for Idaho Freedom Foundation, he believes in numbers. And as we all know, numbers don't lie. I don't know. I'm just really concerned for my grandkids that you saw earlier. I'm concerned for my family, my friends, my community members, my country, my country. Let me look at what else notes I got. Speaking of country, let's talk about Idaho. Okay, I love Idaho. I love it. People ask me, gee, how come you don't go back to Hawaii? Are you silly? Are you nuts? Yeah, okay, I think that's not politically correct. Anyway, they've said, am I nuts? Well, I grew up all my life on the island of Kauai. Anybody can check this story out. Anyways, I grew up envisioning being in a place where I'm at now, where I could have the summer, the winter, the spring, the fall, those different seasons, the ability to go up into mountains far and wide. And, you know, I thank God that I grew up in paradise. And I believe now this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I love Idaho. This book, the Idaho Blue Book, you guys should get it. It was given to me by a good friend of mine. Yeah, you know who you are out there. And I suggest everybody gets it, those that love to live here in Idaho. It gives you your elected officials. It tells about the economics. It's a great book to have. And it's called the Idaho Blue Book. And, you know, we all talk about we love it here, we like this, we like that. Well, if we really like what we have, we all best get off of our tails and start doing something. If you do one thing for your neighbor, and your neighbor does two things for someone else, it's just a domino effect. It's just a domino effect. It'll keep on going and going. But we need to do positive things amongst our community. We need to do things that we care about. Anyone can talk. Well, I know that. I used to talk a lot. I used to complain a lot. I know a lot of people that do that. But it comes a point in time where either you're going to take action, and I'm talking positive action, not crazy stuff, okay? Violence doesn't solve anything. Violence does not solve anything. And for some people in this community, they believe Oath Keepers are violent, are bad, are racist, radicals, are militia, and I already covered that. We're none of that. And this is like the third time I'm just trying to get it across to everyone out there. We're just an organization that loves our country, that has stood up, and that has grown exponentially in 3 years. I think it was 24 guys, don't correct, I may be wrong. I think it was 24 guys that was at Lexington Green in Concord, Massachusetts, I believe. I can never say Massachusetts, M-A-S-S-A-S. I had good nuns. I was in a Catholic school, so they taught me well how to spell. Anyways, I believe it was 24, a handful of guys and a few ladies that started this organization. Stuart Rhodes, of course, is the founder. And we're in the thousands, chapters in all the states, actually worldwide. And we've been attacked by the Southern Poverty Law Center as racist. Of course, the Southern Poverty Law Center now, is part of Homeland Security. What is Homeland Security? Homeland Security are you and I. You and I. You and I. Not some foreign country, not some foreign entity, not some foreign corporation. It's you and I. We know who we are. Speaking of foreign countries, I'm surprised that Idaho, and I'm speaking for myself now, not Oath Keepers. I'm surprised that Idaho is allowing so many foreign investments into our state. Besides the federal intrusion on our lands. I think someone told me, a senator told me, and I can't remember, that 60-something% of Idaho is controlled by the federal government. Okay, what happened to the 10th Amendment, state sovereignty, states' rights? Don't say the word sovereignty, because everybody will go, oh my gosh, you're a nut. Let's remember that why don't we just say what we feel and mean what we say? Why don't we? Why do we have to have all this politically correct silliness? Words we can no longer speak or say, positions we can no longer hold without, trying to please everybody else. I feel sorry for, and one thing, if I can say, and I hope the show will probably get out next Monday, I believe, because today's Monday, the 23rd, so it'll be out on the 30th. What's important here in Idaho is to vote. You guys got to get out there and vote. Please don't do name recognition. Research your candidates. Please research your candidates. And I got no room to talk, because when I used to vote, I go, okay, I remember that guy's name. Oh yeah, I guess he's okay. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please. Don't do that. If we continue to do that, we'll continue down this, like someone told me the other day. We're on a track with no brakes in a train. And at the end of the track, there's this huge abyss, cliff, hole. We're going to go right over. And it's not if we're going to go over. I know a lot of people think, we'll get over this. Well, we're not. The question is, how far down that rabbit hole are we going to go? If we continue to vote for people just by name recognition, or not voting at all. Some people say, oh, my vote don't count. My vote don't count. And I think I used to say that a long time ago. So I'm being hypocritical there, and I apologize, because I did say that a long time ago. Every vote counts. And if you don't vote, you got nothing to say. Nothing to say. Nothing. Because it is your duty as an American to vote. And I'm speaking loud again. I'm sorry. Another thing I need to clarify about Oath Keepers. Oath Keepers is 100% behind, 100% behind law enforcement. I've had so many emails, calls saying that we don't like law enforcement and all that. I'm an ex-cop. Anybody that knows me knows that. And many Oath Keepers are actually active duty law enforcement. And as you know, active duty military. Firemen, EMT, you name it. We are with law enforcement. We are with our fellow countrymen. And again, I send out the invitation to anyone that sorry about that. I sound like Daffy Duck. Anyone that wants to sit here and have their their different perspective, I welcome you. I welcome you. Please, let's talk about it. And that's what it's all about. We just talk about things. Let's see. Any more notes? Yeah. Well, we already talked about the National Defense Authorization Act and many of these other things. And if we don't get a hold of the reins of all the people that are in elected positions, I don't care what position, be it, and I'm not identifying any specific position, but be it city level, county level, state level, national level, if we don't do our research, and we don't do it soon, and my phone's ringing, that's funny, you have no idea who's calling, I will just turn it off, because I only got a couple minutes left. That's my bad, see? Anyways, you lost my train of thought. You know, I never thought I'd be doing this. This would be the last thing I had ever, if somebody asked me 3 years ago, hey, Mike Chisholm, what are you going to be doing, dude? I'd probably be thinking doing the same thing, what I was doing 3 years ago. Pretty much a hermit in my house, living in my house, and then basically doing my thing. This would have been, if this was the wildest guess in the world, I would have never thought. Sitting on a camera, looking into a camera, talking to the viewership out there, and trying to send the message that we're out of time. We really are. But we can restore our republic. We really can. We can restore our republic if you really believe. And if you don't believe, then please don't complain. You can't complain. I complained for a long time. You can't complain. You've got to do something. For not yourself, for your family, for God and country. Anyways, God bless to everyone out there, whether you believe in God or not. I do. Have a good day for our republic. Thank you, Kathy. Jim Guthrie just called. Thanks, Kathy. Hey, Jim, I was just finishing up my dissertation on camera. I was just finishing up my show. So the person I had set up to show up didn't show up. So I thought maybe if you wanted to come in. Okay. Okay. You want me to just set a time for you next couple of days and then call you back with it? Because I have to schedule timing with the studio. And the sooner we do it, the better before election. Well, see, what I take today doesn't go on until next week. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Why don't you call me? If I get it taped by Thursday, at the latest, Thursday afternoon, it'll run next week. But anything after Thursday, it'll be later. So why don't you call me when you got some time, and then I'll check with the studio. Oh, anytime, brother. All right, Jim. Bye. Kathy, does that sound stupid? You sure?
You know, you really, so when your phone rings, you should just ignore it. I couldn't hear.
You good there?
Yeah, and so, like, I think it loses your train of thought, and then, because they don't realize the phone is loud. And so, I think that if you, well, first of all, you should take your phone and put it aside or turn it
I'll grab my stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I got,
Okay.